Well, hello everybody. Today's a very important day, a milestone in the birth and life of our little steel pan here that we've been building because today is Independence Day. Today is the day our little steel pan gains its independence from the barrel from whence it came. And it's a nerve-wracking idea to me that I'm about to take a deadly weapon to this barrel in order to get this job done, and I'll show you what I mean in a second. But anyway, it's a very exciting day because after we get done with this thing's going to look a lot more like a steel pan than a barrel. Now, before I start cutting into this skirt, I have a very important decision to make. Now, you saw me obsessing on how deep to make the bowl, and the next biggest sort of variable that I determine for myself for this pan is the depth of the skirt. The depth of the skirt is a very important consideration because the depth of the skirt can affect the intonation and the tone of the pan. And let me show you what I mean. Now, this instrument here is a great example of how the depth of the skirt can affect the sound of a pan. And I recently did a little bit of tuning on all of some of our instruments, just a very light tuning to my own ability. And I encountered this pan. These tenor pans all have a skirt depth of about 7 inches. And I had a little hard time with this low C. Because every time I struck it, I could see C on the scope, and then it would go sharp all of a sudden. And if you can hear that, it goes from C to C sharp. Well, the C sharp is actually coming from the skirt. So when I grab the skirt, that C sharp goes away. So the skirt has a lot to do with the purity of the sound and the tone and all of that kind of stuff. Now, I'm pretty sure that if I have a really long, deep skirt on this instrument, I'm not going to encounter a C sharp that is just a half step above my lowest note of the C. In theory, the fundamental pitch of the skirt would be much lower with the added mass and everything. Now, this one has these little ripples in it. These are little rings that they create, dents that they create. All barrels have these 2 big ones, and then some of the barrels have these little ones in here. And I don't know, I know nothing about the science of this, but something tells me that those are going to have some sort of dampening effect on the rumble of the skirt. However, I do like the sound of the skirt. I like the extra sustain that a longer skirt provides a tenor pan. And I don't think it would be good for a whole section of instruments, but I do like it for a solo instrument or just an instrument or two, a duet maybe or something. But I think in a section that would get out of hand and it would cloud the sound a little too much. But for me, I've made this older style pan, and it's likely that my notes aren't going to have as much sustain to them as a modern instrument. And I might be able to pick up a little extra sustain if I just go a little deeper on the skirt. And so that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to go a little deeper on the skirt, and I have to also consider how deep is my case, because I think my deepest case is about 12 inches. So this hoop right here is at about 11 3/4 inches, and I'm going to try. My first try is going to be on the prominent side of that hoop all the way around. Now, if this was flat, I would have to measure and take a T-square and come down here and measure and make little marks all along this thing, and then I would have to use my bendable ruler, my flexible ruler, to connect all those marks and draw a line, and then I would have, when I cut, I'd have to keep on that line. But this instrument has these hoops here, so I'm just going to use these hoops as my line. Now, the tool that we're going to use to do this job is probably one of the deadliest looking things I've ever seen. And this is it. It is a 14 gauge steel cutter, and it's got a nibbler at the front. And it can be a little unpredictable, and I'm especially worried about it on the ridge of the hoop of the barrel. But I got a little bit of practice earlier this evening, and I made a customized burn barrel for the next step in the process when we burn the pan. And I had an old barrel that I cut down, and I got a little practice with this thing. So I think I've got some confidence, and I've cut myself a nice big pilot hole to start out with, and I'm going to go slow. All right, wish me luck. Here we go. Well, now what? Well, we're done with that part of the process, and I'm really glad. I did wind up taking a second pass and trimming off exactly this much of it. This is fun stuff to play with, by the way. Because it was the first cut had a really big flare on the bottom of it, and I thought it would be kind of difficult to get in and out of a case, and it was pretty wide, and so I went ahead and trimmed it up just by that much to bring it in closer to one of the valleys of these extra hoops here. So now I'm at a point where it's actually feeling comfortable, and I can live with this length here. I am very pleased with the way this has come along so far, and all my professional tuning friends are kind of rolling their eyes or giggling right now, because cutting a pan free of a barrel is like a daily thing to them. They do that every day when they make pans. For me, a guy who hasn't done it in 35 years, it's an emotional occasion. I'm so proud. So anyway, we have us an actual steel pan now. I'd like to thank Mama Barrel here for providing us with this steel pan. And in a couple of days, we're going to thank Grandpa Barrel over there for providing us a burn pit where we can actually anneal this instrument. So those steps are coming up next. Everything kind of happens bang, bang, bang pretty quickly from here on until the tuning. So stay tuned. And for now, I'm just going to say I hope you're staying safe, and I hope you're taking care of yourself and your family. And that's it for now. So I'll just see you later. Keep your stick on the ice. Ciao.